Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. We have so much news tonight. Tonight, we're going to be breaking down new evidence in the Luigi Mangione hearing and major breaking news coming out of Venezuela. Have you seen what's happening on the news? This could really reshape everything. In fact, we're also going to talk about Charlie Kirk's unaliver, we'll call it. Tyler Robertson was in court today for the very first time. But tonight we're honored to have with us Mama Flip. She's going to be here tonight to help us to understand her viewpoint on the different cases. Mama Flip, welcome aboard.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me. How you guys doing tonight?
All right. So you were in court today. How did it go?
It was interesting. I mean, I still stand by my original statement. I'm sorry, I'm just fixing my hair. That these officers are like Kingstone cops. Kingstone cops are comedic cops that they used to back in the days where they used to have silent films, and you had the officers that would walk around with these baronets and twirl them and stuff like that. I'm probably just telling my age. This is what I see these cops are, these police officers. No disrespect to my police officers. I don't want nobody coming at me and saying Mama Flip is disrespected police officers, but they are completely out of line, in my opinion. When I'm telling you these officers are trying every single thing to lie about what they did after they approached Luigi. I don't even know what to tell you. It was just, today was just amazing. I just sat there. Normally I go in the morning and I see the prosecutor because I only need to get there in the morning before I go to work. Then I go to work. But today I ended up actually going back because I wanted to see the defense actually do the cross-examination. And at night it was like back and forth. There was one officer, apparently he was the one of the leads that was there, and between the defense and the prosecutor, they kept on going back and forth the question. There was like literally 4 cross-examinations because they were trying to prove a point. And the point is that they searched Luigi's belongings, right, without a warrant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're trying to explain how that isn't a thing. Just like speaking his Miranda right is not a thing because he wasn't arrested, he was a detainee. So by the time y'all guys searched the man 3 times, so they searched him 3 times, they frisked him 3 times without the Miranda, right? Then after that, their rule says that in order to take his bag, right, and search, there's a rule that says you're supposed to search his belongings in his bag and his presence. If this is not an arrestee, you're supposed to search it in the presence. They didn't do that. They didn't search it. So at the end of the day, and his presence, they searched it outside of his presence. They searched it after they got him out of the McDonald's and they put him in handcuffs. They searched it there. But that's not even the wonderful thing. They actually went and they searched it again at the police precinct, right? And they're trying to explain how they're allowed to do that because everything in the bag was actually evidence, not personal. So there's a whole policy where you're supposed to separate the personal from the actual evidence. You're supposed to fill out a form. They didn't fill out the form. They had an explanation of that. Oh no, we didn't need to fill out the form because we already determined by looking in the bag that everything there was not personal. It was actually evidence in the New York case. I'm like, yo, The games they were playing today was just amazing. I just sat there. I was just like, yo, you guys are lying.
Yeah. So let's go right into this video just to get everybody who may not be familiar with the case. Let's bring them up to speed. Let's see if I can get this going here. All right, let's check out
a search warrant, including a pistol, silencer, and to New York City now, where Luigi Mangione is back in court for day 6 of a crucial evidence hearing. Lawyers for the man accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson want to keep some key pieces of evidence out of his upcoming murder trial. Now, the defense team argues items found in Mangione's back.
Okay, so could you speak on the lawyers they mentioned? Who are they?
Okay, say it one more time.
The defense lawyers, who are they?
So great. So you have
Mark.
Mark wasn't actually doing the question. I think it was Zachary. It was Zachary Kaplan, because there's 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
So
Jacob.
You have Jacob and you have Zachary. So so I always hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Defense team for Luigi. I want to make sure, because I didn't write their name down. So give me 1 second. I'll let you know. So it looked like it was Jacob Kaplan that was actually questioning them today. Karen didn't. Karen Agnifilio did not question. Mark Agnifilio, he came in the afternoon. So it looked like it was Jacob that actually questioned the officer today. So that's because I always get Jacob and Zachary mixed up, because one, they both have the same last name, and I always get them a little bit mixed up. But I believe it was Jacob that actually, it was Jacob that actually questioned them today.
So the prosecutors, they have a Zachary Kaplan, and then the defense has a Jacob Kaplan. So they kind of look alike, right?
And they look exactly alike. I went crazy yesterday talking to you about it on my live on Tuesday. I was like, because when I first saw them together, I'm like, yo, are they brothers? Are they bro? Because they were having so much fun. They were laughing and joking with the judge. And I'm like, okay, they're having a bro contest, a bro love fest up there. And this is supposed to be a serious case. So then when I realized they were from opposing team, I was like, because they were trying to fix the laptop. I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is even more interesting, because normally they don't get along that well. Like they literally was having a great time with each other. So then I was like, wait a minute, they look alike too, because they have like the military haircut, the police officer military haircut. I'm like, nah, they can't be true brothers. Okay, they can't be family, like real family. And then when I was searching for them, I realized they both had the same last name. I'm like, oh, hell nah. Not only do you guys look alike, you guys are having a good old time. Y'all on the closing scene, and y'all got the same last name. So I'm wondering if they're family, to be honest with you, which would be really weird. But yeah, those are the guys. So yeah, but I have not seen actually Zachary actually question anybody. It's only been Joel, which is the prosecutor, that actually doing the question. But today it was actually Jacob Kaplan is the one that questioned the police officer today. And it was police officer Bryant. I believe it was police officer Bryant, who was like a supervisor. So today was crazy. Today was a crazy day with the testimony, but yes. Okay,
and this morning they had Lieutenant Hanley. He was he had his direct examination. Then he was cross-examination by Karen Agnifilo. So let's get back to the video. Okay.
Pack were uncovered without a search warrant, including a pistol, silencer, and a notebook. But prosecutors say the search was legal. Let's bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman live from outside that courthouse in downtown Manhattan. Katrina, today the defense team took issue with the recent release of a video showing the shooting of Brian Thompson. What do we hear about that?
So the defense made a statement in court today, and specifically what they take issue with is that the prosecution didn't just release this short piece of footage where you can see Brian Thompson being shot. They released almost 2.5 hours of CCTV footage. Now, we had not seen all of that in court. The defense points this out. They say that this wasn't brought up with any witnesses on the stand. They didn't know that this entire thing was going to be released. In it, you see the shooting of Brian Thompson. You see it being responded to, him being loaded into an ambulance. They believe that all of this is prejudicial to Luigi Mangione. They say that it's very unusual for it to be released. The whole point of the suppression hearing that we've been in is that they don't want certain evidence to go before a jury. So for them to have so much coming out in the public in a way sort of defeats the purpose of why we're here.
And Katrina, there was a witness that took the stand today. What did they say?
We've heard from two witnesses today. One was Lieutenant William Henley. Sorry, it's very windy here today. And he was the highest ranking officer on the scene that day. And then we've also heard from another supervisor, Sergeant Burns. I'd say the most interesting thing to come out today is it is the first time that we heard 911 calls. And these were between Lieutenant Hanley and 911 operators in New York. He realized when he heard that the New York shooter might be at that McDonald's that he needed to get in touch with the NYPD. The best way that he could figure out to do that was to just...
So you see in the photo here, the video, that they pretty much have him cornered. What are your thoughts about that? He couldn't get up if he wanted to, right? Couldn't get up.
He couldn't get up at all. I mean, the most interesting thing about this whole case is that they got a call. They got a 911 call from a manager at the McDonald's saying that they see somebody that looks like the man that was considered the CEO unaliver. Right, I'm going to say unaliver, but they said the different words. The different cops called him the iller and the erder, and I'm trying to say the words without putting the first letter in. So they said that they saw him there. So they decide to send two patrol officers, right, that was in the beat. The two patrol officer called Lieutenant. I think that he said his name is Hanner. They called him, and that's how everything started, and that's how everybody started going. So my whole thing about when I first saw the pictures of him against the wall, right, I wanted to know how did they identify him as being the actual perpetrator, right? Because the pictures I saw of him initially had his hat all the way down to his face, and he had a full mask, right? So you approach someone who's having breakfast, and again, we should say that we're not trying to make excuse if he did unalive Brian Thompson. We do want to see justice, but we want to talk about what they did to actually get here. You approach somebody's having breakfast. You ask for his name. He said his name is Mark, right? He gave you a New Jersey license plate. And then you guys start looking through Google to see if that's him, right? The lieutenant in question didn't even get there yet, right? But his officers called him and said, yeah, that's him. And you already calling 911 in New York to say that you guys have the person who unalived Brian Brian Thompson. God, Brian Christopher is somebody else. Oh my God, forgive me, Brian. Brian Thompson, you already said that Brian, you have the perp right there. So he already went there with the preconceived notion that this is the guy, right? And we're going to do everything we can to identify him. Now, my problem with this whole situation that it started with me is that, first of all, you didn't know for 100% that was him. You guys felt that it was him because you guys Googled and y'all saw that his picture looked like him. And everyone says that, oh, the reason why we knew it was him is because we saw him in Fox News. We saw him in Fox News, and Fox News is the only one that was out there trying to find the person that unalived Brian Thompson. All the other media, they didn't care about the situation. They didn't care about the unalivement. All they cared about is health care. So you guys already have a preconceived notion that you guys want to play the hero of Fox News because everybody else didn't give a damn about what happened with Brian Thompson, which I completely disagree with, because I know I saw in every station that they were looking for the person that unalived Brian Thompson. And I know for a fact that New York shut down New York. I live in New York in order to try to find out. Thank you so much for saying I feel better. I am feeling much better. Thank you. To find out to find him. So this whole notion that Fox News is the only one that was looking for the guy that was unaliving Brian Thompson is a flat lie. But either way, they felt that Fox News showed them who the guy was. So they felt that they knew who he was, and that they felt that he was a liar, right? When they showed the ID, when he showed the wrong ID. So by showing the wrong ID, look at him sitting there in the background, right? Then they talk to each other in the background because there's a lot of cameras. There's a lot of body cam footage where they're talking to each other, right? So they call the lieutenant, say that that's him. The lieutenant rush over there. He's calling 911. He's saying, yeah, we got the guy there. They say, do you know his name? He even tell the 911 person in New York that, no, I don't know his name, right? We got him, but I don't know his name. When I get there, I'll tell you what his name is. Like, yo, so of course, no one knew his name at the time, right? Allegedly, no one knew his name at the time, except for the Fox News cops knew his name wasn't Mark from New Jersey. You see, this is the most interesting thing to me, because if you guys did not know his name, you have his ID. How did you know that this guy wasn't Mark? Right? Why did you approach him and say that you're lying? That is not your name. We know your name, and it's against the law. And if you continue to tell us a lie about your name, then you will be arrested. When they said that to him, that's when Luigi was like, okay, you're right. That's not my name. They said, what is your name? Your name, my name is Luigi. And that's when they said they caught him. Oh, he committed a crime. And as a result of committing a crime, by telling us that's not his name, his wrong name, now we could search him. Now we could question him. Now we could go through his bag. We could do all of that because we find him to be a danger, even though they allowed people back and forth to inside McDonald's. They didn't clear out McDonald's, even though in the video cam you could see them going in and out the bathroom. You see 13 officers surrounding this young man. You'd see all of that, right? Okay. But the reason why they felt they needed to search him is because he was a danger, and because they knew through Fox News that was the guy that unalived Brian Thompson.
Okay, so to answer your question, no problem. To answer your question, Gold Digger, the officer, the K9 officer was Officer Fox. Let's get back to the video.
Call the 911 operator. He explained to her that they thought they had that shooter, gave her some details. At the time, the identifying information that was on the New Jersey ID Mangione first handed over, Mark Rosario. She said someone would call him back. Later on, he still had not heard from the NYPD, but at that point, they had decided to take Mangione into custody based on the fake ID that he had turned over. So he called again, explained to another 911 operator that they believed they had the New York shooter the NYPD had been looking for, gave more identifying information, and that was really how the liaison began between the Altoona police and the NYPD, it appears.
You know, earlier this morning, the lieutenant was clear to point out that at 9:29, he handed over this fake ID. And basically that set the stage for them to be able to, they have this thing called incident to arrest. So that gave them the right without a warrant to go through his bag. And that's where they found the magazine, which had 9mm bullets, the gun. And he also had a journal that the prosecutor keeps trying to call a manifesto. And also the prosecutor keeps saying that he executed Brian Thompson, and the defense has been pushing back on that, saying, hey, you can't say that. But the judge said, this is just a hearing. I won't let you say that in court, but he could say it here.
Exactly. I mean, it's true. But also, you have to understand, it's not arrest. You see, you threw arrest in there. It has nothing to do with arrest. Initially, they felt that they had the right to detain him. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't want to say they arrest him, because if they arrest him, they should have read his Miranda rights. You see, the whole issue is that whether it was arrest or whether it was a detainment, they're like, all this time when we were questioning him and looking through his bag because he broke the law, we only was detaining him. That's all. We were just detaining him just to confirm what his name was, like to confirm if he was telling the truth. But that you already said that he wasn't telling the truth because you knew that that wasn't Mark on the ID. So once you did that, that's when they go back and forth to say, what does the rule says when it comes to search and seizure, right? According to Philadelphia, like you said, you could search somebody if they're a detainee. But once you arrest them is when you do the warrant. I mean, the Miranda rights. I'm sorry. That's when you do the Miranda. The warrant is something else. The search and warrant is another separate issue. But we have to start first with the Miranda right. They said they did not have to read him his Miranda rights for 20 minutes because he wasn't arrested. He was just held there. So that's the first part. The search and seizure. Now, why did you search his bag? Because we felt that he was a danger. How did you feel that he was a danger when the bag wasn't even near him? How did you feel he was a danger when you had 8 cops surrounding him at one time, right? At the end of the day, you ended up having 13 cops. How do you feel that he was a danger when you did not clear McDonald's? When you guys went back and forth to the bathroom, where you allowed the customer to go back and forth to the bathroom. You see where the desk is, where he was sitting, Luigi was sitting? The bathroom was between him and the police officers. It was right against that wall. You see how he's leaning on the wall? The wall behind him is the bathroom. So they allowed customers to go back and forth and go to the bathroom, but yet they were afraid. They were concerned. And this is why they actually searched him, right? And they went through his clothes and they went through his bag. And once they realized they found the magazine, that was like, oh, that's when Officer Christine, you can see her face is like, oh, we got him. We got him. And she put it back in the bag. And that's when they say, oh, maybe we should get a warrant. And that's where the fight is between Sergeant Burns and Trent, because Officer Trent is the one that says, okay, I think we need to get a warrant right now. And Officer Burns was like, oh, no, we don't need it because he already committed a crime by giving us a false identification. So I think this is the most interesting thing. And the prosecutor keeps trying to get the officers to say that you don't know the rules of New York, because apparently the rules in New York is different from Philly. You can't be searching people, fritzing people, and just detaining and arresting without reading the Miranda right in New York. But apparently in Philly, you could do whatever you want to. So the prosecutor, Joel, keeps trying to get them to say, so you don't know, you weren't trained in New York, right? They're like, no, we were trained in Philly. And Philly, you could do stuff like that, you know? So that's the whole gist of what's going on. They're trying to piecemeal why they did what they did. Now, if they all could come out and say, look, but the Philadelphia rule says that we're allowed to do all of this. This is what we did. We felt we did the right thing. Let's go on. It would be good. But they're lying about it. They keep changing their story. Prime example was Burns. A lot of reporters this afternoon were like looking at each other like, what the hell? Did he just say what he said? Because so at one time there is a rule. It's called 3-3.1.9 and 3.1.10, right? Which is the Pennsylvania search rules, right? So he read through the entire rule. So one of the things that they were supposed to do is that, first of all, Officer Christina wasn't supposed to go through his bag like that. Okay? So we all agreed that's not what the rule says. Even though he disagrees, she's not supposed to go through his bag, right? And if she is supposed to go through his bag, she's supposed to go through his bag in front of him, not outside because he has personal items. There's supposed to be a procedure. If you feel that there's something there, the bag is supposed to be with, you're supposed to search it, ask questions, make sure that they know that you're looking through the bag. They already took him outside, so she did the wrong thing. So when she went back inside now, they asked them, okay, the rule said that you can search the bag. If you're doing an inventory search, you have to list everything that's in the bag. Did you fill out the form? This is Jacob Kaplan questioning Detective Moore. Did you fill out the form? No. Why didn't you fill out the form? Because we didn't think it was necessary. But the rule says that you're supposed to fill out the form. No. Again, why? Because the rule also said that we don't need to fill out the form if everything in there is considered evidence. But wait, but everything in there wasn't evidence, was it? Because he has personal stuff in it. I don't know. You don't know. So you don't know that he had personal items in there, and then you took all the pictures. Yes, I did take all the pictures. How many pictures you took? 179. Let's go through, because we already went through all the pictures. You took everything from the journal. You took even the blank pages and stuff like that. You see that he has a protein bar. You see that he has drives. You see that he has adapters. You see that he has cash. So you don't think any of that was personal? Officer Christine didn't think any of that was personal when she was going through it? No. We thought we did the right thing. So it's the nuances of what they're trying to do that's making me crazy, because you guys know that you did the wrong thing. You did the wrong thing. You should have read him the Miranda rights. You should have got him a warrant. And the thing that got him in trouble also is because police officer Trent, when they look in the bag, and I think when they saw the magazine, okay, again, Luigi wasn't at McDonald's. They already took him outside in the car. So they were inside looking through his stuff, which is illegal according even to Pennsylvania. But when they found the magazine, Trent says, oh, we should stop. We need to get a warrant. But of course, I don't know if Lieutenant Sergeant Burns, who is a supervisor, was like, he ignored him. So the the defense attorney said that, well, you just heard him say right there that we should get a warrant, but yet you didn't respond. He's like, yeah, I didn't respond because I didn't want to get into an argument with subordinate about what the rules are as far as search and seizure. I was right and he was wrong, so I didn't want to answer his question on camera. But it would make sense, right? Because if you were the supervisor, officer, right, and you have a subordinate saying that, hey, we need to get a warrant, as a supervisor, especially a supervisor in training, and I have to tell everybody that apparently some of these officers was officers in training. So some of these officers, so you have officers who were supposed to be patrolling the areas who left their patrol to come to McDonald's because they want to be a hero. But not only that, they brought their trainee with them. So if this police officer, I don't think he was a trainee, but if Trent mentioned to you and you're the supervisor, you're the officer in charge, one of the officers in charge, why not tell him, no, we don't need a warrant because this is a legal search because of this and that. But no, you said that, no, I didn't even want to answer him because, I didn't feel that I didn't need to explain it myself. So it's a whole lot of nuances, but at the end of the day, they are trying to explain why they did not read his Miranda right, why they searched him, even against their own Pennsylvania search rule, even against their own Pennsylvania arrest rule. They're trying to explain it. And they are ticked off, and they are not happy with being questioned and stuff like that. And I really seriously think, and again, people are going to say that I'm wrong about this. I think is that a lot of them collectively have this mindset of police officers, but not only police, but a certain type of police officers that don't need to be questioned. Even Burns, I think it was was it Burns or this morning, Lieutenant? No, it was Burns. No, it was the lieutenant this morning.
Hanley.
They asked him, I'm sorry?
Hanley is his name.
Lieutenant Henley. They asked Lieutenant Henley, where did you see his photo, right? Every officer up to that time that I seen said that I saw his photo on Fox News. Every time. I think the lieutenant got hit on the Fox News because they asked him, where did you just photo? He said, oh, I just saw him on the website and stuff like that. I just saw some of his pictures on the website and everything. The most interesting thing is when he was going to McDonald's, he had to search the website again to look at his picture. He said, I just saw the website. And then he went on to say that, oh yeah, I saw on the website, but I did see some clips on some of the other news channel, the CNN, with their talking heads, the ones with the talking heads, and then making a certain analysis of how is it for us to do our job or something like that, right? But it's the way he said it with such disdain. Like, oh yeah, I've seen clips with these talking heads channel like CNN and MSNBC. So I'm like, yo, you guys are all on this mindset. even the one that says didn't even come out and said that I'm watching Fox News. To me, every single of them so far have such a disdain for anything that has to do with Luigi. And as police officers, obviously, you don't want to see anyone unalive somebody, period. Right? And I'm okay with that because they are there to do their job to find somebody who unalive. But I think they really are placing themselves in the place of Brian Thomas and his family, right? But they see Luigi as a left-wing healthcare nut, and they are the hero to try to save the world from the left-wing conspiracy people who wants to do away with people like themselves or their husband and their family who just want to do their regular job. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just seeing, and again, I'm waiting. Every time I hear them speak, I just see the disdain. It's like that you could just hear whenever they talk about the news and the media and the coverage and the photos and stuff like that and their mentality, it just seems to me that they are so far right in this particular time that they didn't care that they broke the rule as long as they got the guy.
Right.
That's how I feel.
All right. So due to time, we have to switch gears here a little bit, but we're going to come back to Luigi Mangione if we have some extra time. I want to take a look at what's happening in Venezuela. Let's take a look at that. All right. Okay, here we go.
This morning, the Venezuelan government is accusing the United States of blatant theft after the U.S. seized a massive oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast. An elite armed Coast Guard unit seen rappelling out of helicopters onto the deck of the tanker on Wednesday, executing a seizure warrant, according to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Bondi says the tanker was part of an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations, transporting what the Trump administration says was sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening.
It marks a dramatic escalation in President Trump's pressure campaign against Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, and what the president calls Maduro's illegitimate narco-terrorist regime. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, producing roughly 1 million barrels a day. When asked what will happen with the oil seized, the president responded,
I assume we're going to keep the oil.
In a statement, Venezuela...
Okay, so is this about drugs or is it about oil? What do you think?
It's about Donald Trump insanity. That's what it is. It's about Donald Trump insanity. It's about it's also about trying to change the narrative with the Epstein files. This man is nuts. Okay, and my concern is for the military personnel that's doing all these illegal actions, because once this cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs president is no longer out here, these individual soldiers are going to be held accountable personally for their actions. You understand what I'm saying? It is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, I'm not sure why he's pissed off with Venezuela. I haven't been paying attention to the story, but apparently he wants to now be the master of everything. The only problem that he's going to have is Iran. You see, Iran ain't going to be playing around with Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is starting a war. We already got all of our guys out of Afghanistan. All right. It was a big deal. Apparently, everybody blamed former President Biden for the withdrawal of troops from the forever war. Right. Even though it was Donald Trump that actually set up and agreed to remove all of the soldiers from there. That became a catastrophe. We all in agreement that, especially the MAGA community, brothers and sisters, they said they didn't want this man to go into other countries to make sure it's America first. And now it looked like he's starting some conflict with Venezuela and other people as a result of this alleged stopping of drugs from coming into the United States when drugs are still coming in the United States. And now he's trying to steal these people oil. So when Venezuela and Iran and them start escalating, and then it becomes a full-out war where they have to send soldiers, I just hope that nobody's looking at at my grandkids or my sons, because they ain't going. Because y'all asses voted for this man and said that this man is not going to war, and now he's creating a war type situation. So that's how I feel about it. I think that he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's nutso, and he's putting us in a very difficult situation. And I think it's all about some BS. And I think that he's only doing it because he wants to change the narrative when it comes to the Epstein files. Also, the grocery prices. Okay. If he was so concerned about America first, then our grocery prices wouldn't be so high. Now we're talking about, now people are concerned about their health care is going to be increased double by next year. So we have that. We also have so we have grocery, we have health care, and our gas bills is crazy, our utility is crazy. So there's nothing he's doing right now that's making America first for the reasons why MAGA voted for him. So I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so I'm going to get back to the video. Okay.
Venezuela called the move an act of international piracy, adding that President Trump's objective has always been to seize Venezuelan oil. The tanker's seizure is the latest in President Trump's effort to force Maduro from power, the U.S. offering a $50 million reward for information that leads to his capture, sending America's largest aircraft carrier to the Caribbean, and striking at least 22 suspected drug boats, killing 86 people. The president, who has not ruled out a land invasion, with this warning about Maduro just days ago.
His days are numbered.
President Trump also threatening his war on alleged drug traffickers could expand into neighboring Colombia, speaking directly to that country's leader.
He's going to be next.
Democrats expressing concerns about the campaign in Latin America.
We should not be trying to dominate the Western Hemisphere. This is going to drag us into a conflict that is incredibly costly.
The president here declined to say who owned that massive oil tanker, and its exact destination remains unclear this morning. But Venezuelan oil, sanctioned by the Trump administration right now, often goes to Cuba, Craig, and the vast majority of it is purchased by China. Craig.
Peter,
So when Donald Trump started his presidency, he mentioned how he would pretty much eradicate all these wars. Are you shocked that he's actually doing this down in South America?
No, I'm not shocked. I mean, I don't know who thought that he was going to eradicate wars. Donald Trump is about money and power. Also, he doesn't care about soldiers, and he doesn't care about families that has young or husbands and wives that could actually be unalive with his actions. Like he's insane. Finally, all these drugs, boats. Where are the drugs? Where are the videos? There's a video that we are still waiting for, where it seemed like they actually blew up a boat, a boat. They had two of the individuals holding on for dear life. So instead of a rescue, they shot the boat again and unalived the two persons that was on the boat. Now he doesn't want to show the video. Why does he want to show the video? Because it's showing that he's using our military personnel to unalive people in the open sea. And once all of this evidence come out, because it's going to eventually come out, because this man is not a vampire. I keep telling people all the time, he's not going to be alive forever. He is going to transition to Haze one of these days. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whether it's now, 5 years from now, 10 years ago, he is going to be gone. And when that time comes, this is when people are going to start waking up and doing all these investigations, right? And they're going to find out that a lot of these illegal stuff that he's doing is illegal. Now, let's go back to our MAGA brothers and sisters again. Our MAGA brothers and sisters clearly said, including a lot of the independents, including a lot of the colleges, the college students that did not want to vote Kamala Harris because they felt that there was a major issue with the war on the other side of the country. And I'm not talking about Russia or Ukraine. I'm talking about the other war. You guys told the rest of us that this fool was going to stop wars and he was going to make America first. That's what you guys said. That's why y'all voted for him. Y'all said that he was going to stop the Russian-Ukraine war. You said that he was going to stop the other war. But instead of stopping those are still going on. But now he's creating war with Venezuela, and he's creating war with Colombia, and he's creating war with all these other leaders. So I don't know what to tell y'all. I better go talk to y'all boy, because I know that my sons and my grandsons ain't going. Okay. They're not going. And if this fool start talking about how he wants to, what's the terminology when they force and I'm a Marine. When they start not recruit.
Drafting.
Thank you. I'm sorry. When they start talking about drafting people for these crazy wars, I hope my mega brothers and sisters are ready to send theirs, and they're ready to serve their country. Because the rest of us is gonna be sitting our asses looking at y'all like y'all crazy. Y'all said that this man was going to stop wars and it was going to be America first. It is not America first. We don't know what he's doing in these waters. We haven't seen one evidence of drugs. Like, how is it if you're blowing up a ship, you can't show us that there's, when you know what it is, when you destroy a vehicle or when you destroy a ship, like there are residues, there are woods, there are metals. I mean, if there were rugs there, they could show us there are drugs. But we haven't seen anything. And now he's stealing oil. Now, did you hear at the end of the report that some of the oil go to China? Now, we know that he's fighting China over the trades, right? So now we're going to now go to war with China because he's stealing China oil too. Did you guys hear that the oil was supposed to be going to China? So now we have the problem. We have the problem with the farmers. The farmers can't sell their it's not their wheat, but their grain. We have that to the point where now the farmers has now become the new welfare queens of America. Because they're now getting social change. They're getting checks, $12 billion bailout checks for the farmers because they can't sell their grain to China. And now you're stealing China oil. So where are we? What's going on? I mean, I just want to know what everybody is expecting from this guy. What is he doing to make America great again?
Now, it came out in the news today that Putin is actually asking for some accountability. He wants to know why America has taken over or seized the oil ships.
So Putin have asked, he's going to have a problem with Putin because Putin and China are best friends. So he's going to have a problem with Putin. Now, I'm not sure who is advising your foolish president, Mega, because that's your president, ain't mine. I don't know who's advising this foolio, right? But if he pissed off Putin, Venezuela, Colombia, and China, and Iran, who's going to be with us? Who's going to partner? Who's going to fight with us against all of this shenanigans that he's up to? Because he already disrespecting all of Europe. He already keeps trying to get us away from the United Nations. So who's going to support? So we're going to be out here, our behinds out here trying to steal people oil, causing conflict for what? What's the purpose of what he is doing? I hope that MAGA can explain to the rest of us what's the purpose of what he's doing, right? Why is he doing it?
All right. So let's get back to the rest of this video.
Alexander from the White House. Peter, thank you.
Let us bring in Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press, who's right here in New York with us. Kristen, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sure a lot of people are, they've been probably following what's been happening in the Caribbean, but we've seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Are we at war with Venezuela?
It's a great question. I spoke to two senior administration officials overnight who say this should not be viewed as a war with Venezuela. But there's no doubt that this is an escalation, and it's a part of a broader escalation that we are seeing. So seizing this oil tanker, the president has amassed more troops in the region, and of course, those targeted strikes against alleged drug boats. So where does this all go from here? The president hasn't ruled out the possibility of land strikes against Venezuela. He signaled there was going to be more action coming in the future. And I think what's notable is that we are seeing bipartisan calls quite.
Do you think we could see some action against Mexico since drugs come in through Mexico too?
I don't know. I mean, because initially he was supposed to build a wall, right? He was supposed to build a wall to prevent immigrants from coming from Mexico and to prevent drugs from coming from Mexico. That was his original. That's what he said in 2016. So 2016 to 2020, he was supposed to build a wall. The wall has not been completed. Okay, so now you are telling me that you are going after Venezuela. We didn't even know there was a problem with Venezuela and Colombia 2016 to 2020. When did that happen? He didn't address the Mexico situation, maybe because he knows that the Mexico female president is not playing with him and she's about to go all ham hot on him. But I don't know what is going on with him. I don't know. I have no idea. And another thing that concerned me is that Congress is supposed to have the war, is supposed to have the rights to vote for a war. They have the war power. Not he is the head of the military, but he cannot declare war. He's not supposed to be allowed to declare war. It's supposed to be Congress. It's supposed to be a meeting. It's supposed to be a discussion, and Congress is the one that's supposed to be able to declare war or to authorize war or authorize funding for war. He doesn't care about none of that. He's going around all these rules and regulations in order to start a conflict. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, because I thought the Venezuela and the Colombia presidents, they were more like dictatorship, like him, because he wants to be a dictator. So I thought a lot of them was pretty much strong men like he wants to be. So I'm not sure, and I don't think anybody has been able to explain to us yet as American, why is he doing this? He's saying that, oh, he's doing it to stop drugs. There is no proof that these ships are coming to America. So far, I have not found any from the media. There is no proof that says, oh, yes, he found these ships on the border of the American coastline. That's why he blew up the ship. There's none.
Okay, Candyman says he didn't steal oil. The ship was under international sanctions, so it was hauling illegal cargo. That's from Candyman in the audience.
He stole oil that does not belong to him. Maybe we didn't hear what they said. All right. They said specifically that the oil was on the way to China. That's what it says. Do you want to play what they said the oil was, Mel? It said the oil was on the way to China. That's what I heard. Okay. Right?
All right. I don't have the
oil, no, you played it earlier with Brian. With the earlier report prior to the panel. The first clip, it says that according to the understanding that oil was on its way, was supposed to end up in China. So if the oil is supposed to end up with China, whether it's considered illegal cargo or not, what I'm saying is that he is starting trouble with China and Iran, right? This is what he's doing. Okay. Venezuela, Colombia, Iran, China. Massive, major countries, right? Why is he doing it?
Yes,
and he's supposed to be America first. How is that America first?
Exactly. Thank you so much, Bordeaux, for the super chat. We're going to move on to the rest of this video, and then we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk. As you know, his unaliver, we'll call it, was in court today for the first time. But let's finish this out.
Frankly, for more oversight into all of this, particularly if there's going to be more escalation, and lawmakers demanding to see proof and evidence of what the administration is arguing.
To your point, though, I mean, the attacks on the alleged drug boats, the seizing now of this oil tanker off the coast, this obvious escalation, net positive for the president or a liability for the president, or is it just too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell yet. Here's what I can tell you. More Americans disapprove of what they're seeing. 48%, for example, say that they disapprove of those strikes against drug boats without a court order approving them. So that gives you a little bit of an early snapshot. But again, I think people are just starting to digest this. And that's why you have those bipartisan calls, Republicans like Senator Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, even Leader John Thune saying we want to see the full video of some of the more controversial strikes. And here's the other issue for Republicans. They're concerned it's taking away from the top issues for voters. We are, after all, in a midterm season. They want the president to be focused on the economy, health care, those Obamacare subsidies set to expire. So that's, I think, part of the concerns.
Kristen, thank you. Of course, much more to be discussed.
Okay, so that pretty much, what do you think?
But exactly what I just said. I mean, they're saying it a lot more eloquently. I'm just speaking in Brooklyn terminology, right? I'm a black woman from Brooklyn, so I'm just going to say it as a TIE is exactly what I just said. American people do not care about you blowing up ships, especially when it's going to escalate that could cause a war with several countries, because you want to be out of your mind. America wants to know what is happening with our health care, what is happening with our gas prices, what is happening with our food prices. You promise no more conflict. You promise no more war. You promise not to get involved in international issues. You care about the American people. If you're saying that you're blowing up these alleged ships because they're bringing drugs into our community, into the United States, there's no proof of that. There's no proof. You're blowing ships over at the Caribbean, near Colombia and Venezuela. There's no proof that they're heading our way. And allegedly, a lot of the drugs are coming from Mexico. When did we realize that drugs were coming out of Venezuela or Colombia? When did we realize that? And why is he doing it? It just doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, yes. So now we're doing
No, it's okay. You can keep going. Also, I just want to mention to you, we have some requests for us to discuss Luigi some more. So after we go through this whole ordeal about Charlie Kirk, which we know is really a hot topic, everybody, he's like the new, I don't want to say Messiah, but they look at him as being, something like a saint. So we're going to touch on that too. So I just want to, after we discuss this, we'll get into Luigi again for those who are requesting. All right, so I'm going to start this off now.
Yes.
Good afternoon, and I recognize Mr. Robinson in the courtroom as well. Good afternoon.
So I just want to preface this by saying this is Tyler Robinson. This was his first day in court for the unalignment of Charlie Kirk. So let's check it out.
For the benefit of the record, calling case 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Counsel, as we're moving forward today, I want to give an overview of what we anticipate doing. And it comes down, we're addressing three issues. The first is the October 14th, 2025 audio recording of the closed hearing and the October 24th, 2025 transcript of that hearing. The second is the state's motion to amend or clarify the publicity order, commonly known or referred to as the gag order. And finally, the motion for limited intervention and request for notice of motions to close, seal, or reclassify, and which has been filed by the media organizations and by counsel who are present today. So as we begin, the first part is we'll begin by addressing the October 14th audio recording and the October 24th transcript. This portion of the hearing will be closed so that I may hear from the parties regarding which portions of the recording, the record should remain sealed. All members of the public and the press will be excused, and the hearing will not be broadcast. This is because I need to hear what should or should not be sealed or protected, and it would not benefit to.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think in the case of Luigi Mangione, the alleged shooter in New York, wrote 3 words on 3 bullets, right? Deny, delay, and depose. In this case, too, he did a similar thing allegedly with him. You think this is a new trend where they're actually engraving words on bullets and shooting people?
I'm not sure what he wrote on the bullets. I do know that one of my advocacy world was a survivor advocate for many years, and that is also I was a gun violence prevention advocate for many years. So one of the things I do know is that a lot of these individuals who are doing these celebrity, and we call them celebrity unaliving or mass shooting, they do these type of actions in order to bring more focus to their act. It could be anywhere from writing on the bullets to these manifestos to actually unaliving people on holidays or in big crowds. They just do it in order to get more focus. Also, a lot of these actions are based on past actions, right? So if years ago, for example, the Columbine shootings, right? The person had on, they were all in black and they had on body suits, like protect bulletproof vests and stuff like that. So they follow the MOs of a lot of the past shooters. And I think this is just one more thing that they look into the deep web to see what they can do to have a bigger impact. So I think that's what is happening. And then I think the more a lot of these young shooters, depending on where they're getting the information, a lot of them are being defranchised and they just want to be famous for these acts, So, yeah. So that's my opinion. But I did want to go back with one thing, because you had a comment where it says that somebody says that attacking Iran is making America first. You cannot have, MAGA brothers and sisters, you cannot have it both ways. You can't. You voted for this man because you said he would end all wars. Period. He went through the trouble of removing all of our military personnel. He had an agreement with Afghanistan to remove all of our soldiers, to the point that former President Biden was blamed because several soldiers were unalive with the retraction with other people that were trying to escape because of the deal that Donald Trump made. And there was a deadline. And by the time we went through the retraction, the withdrawal of all the troops, all hell broke loose, right? You can't have it both ways and say that him going back to attack Iran is making America first again, when you already, all of you sold us on this asinine dream that this man will not go back into wars. You can't have it both ways. He's supposed to leave the international issues alone, period. Him attacking Iran, him taking oil from China, him going and shooting both out of Venezuela, he's stealing oil from Colombia. That is an escalation, okay? That's an escalation. He is putting our soldiers in harm's way, and we don't know why. We don't know why. We haven't seen the drugs. The ship have not landed in the United States of America. Why is he doing this? You guys said he wouldn't. So I don't want to hear you guys talking at both sides of your mouth. Yes, him doing this making America first. No, America first means America first. America first, American only. Period. Anyway.
Okay, so Jeb says yet you defend drug runners from Venezuela.
I defend drug runner from Venezuela. Where is the drug runner from Venezuela? Show me proof. Show me proof that these boats had drugs from Venezuela. Show proof. We're all waiting for the videos. And don't come and tell me that, oh, you could blow up a ship and you don't see any residues of drugs, or you don't see any residues of the ship and the metals that's in the water. Where are the drugs? I'm not even going to pay attention. Thank you, Sandy. I'm not even paying attention to people talking about defending drug runners. How you defending drug runners? I'm saying perfectly clear, MAGA, brothers and sisters, and I'm trying to be nice. You said he will not escalate conflict with other countries. That's what you said. I'm talking about that part. It's illegal, first of all, to blow up or to unalive people without a warrant. Okay? Even in the United States of America, you know that. A lot of us have family members that still have rugs and stuff like that. So we all know how it is in America. You cannot, under any circumstances, go into somebody's house and decide that, oh, I'm going to unalive somebody because they're taking rugs. You can't do that, right? So why is it okay for him to do that now in foreign countries without any proof?
Okay.
That's what I want to know.
Candyman says, Jeb, he came to your aid. He says, Jeb, I don't think she is defending drug runners from Venezuela. She has an open discussion on the topic.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Thank you so much for actually saying that and addressing it. Yeah, I'm not defending anybody. I'm saying it clearly. I don't think I think that I'm making myself perfectly clear. But if they need me to be more clear, I will say it. We do not know if any of these boats had drugs in it. We don't know. He's not showing us proof. And if they did, then he needs to go to Congress and explain to Congress what the hell is going on. He has not done that. He hasn't shown proof that there was drugs out there, right? That's the first part. The second most important part is that he is escalating things with other countries, which will lead our kids, our husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and our children, our grandchildren to go to war over something we have absolutely no proof, right? He hasn't gone to Congress to provide any proof that we are being inundated with drugs from Venezuela and from Colombia. All this time he's been talking about Mexico. When did the drugs are coming through our country through the Mexican borders change to Venezuela and Colombia? And where's the proof? He already blew up, 8 boats? Where is the proof? That's what I'm trying to understand.
All right, thank you. So, guys, take a moment, if you don't mind, to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Also, could you tell them about your channel and how they can follow you?
Yes, my channel is Mama Flip Slots. That's the channel I would like everybody to follow. Mama Flip Slots. We are trying to get our channel up to over 10,000 subscribers. That's our main channel. The channel that you guys are seeing me here is MamaFliplive. I would love to also increase that channel, but the main important channel to me is Mama Flip Slots. That's MAMASFLIP Slots. If I could get everyone to subscribe to that channel and try to help us get over 10,000 subscribers, I really appreciate it.
Okay. Jeff says that Donald Trump is basically enforcing sanctions and putting America first.
How does that work for you? Just explain to me how enforcing sanctions, right, makes American. You keep repeating it. You keep saying enforcing sanctions make America great. Enforcing sanctions make America. How is enforcing sanctions make America great? How is enforcing? What is that doing for us? Explain to me how's that helping the United States of America? Explain to me how's that helping my grocery prices? Explain to me why my gas bill is $500 a month. How's that helping me out? Explain to me. How is it helping with my taxes? My tax bill was crazy. How is it helping me out? Like, how is it doing it? How is enforcing this sanction helping us as Americans? Just show me. Is the oil that he just stole, is that going to help my gas bill go down? Is my gas bill going to go down next month because he stole some oil? What is he doing for us? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so let me ask you about Charlie Kirk, since we're on the subject.
Yes.
Do you think a lot of people were fair when they got upset with him when he insinuated, as Joy Reid expressed, that Black women were less intelligent than others?
I have to tell you that I did an article on Charlie Kirk. The article was the fact that although Charlie Kirk and I, because I didn't know anything about the young man prior to him unaliving, I just saw a few things about him for many years, but he wasn't somebody I followed. So when he unalived, I actually did a little research and I realized that he and I agree at least on one thing, and that is to share the Epstein files, right? To release the Epstein file. I did a 16 minute, I think 8 minutes. It was 8 minutes video of comparing both of our beliefs, meaning that every time he says release the Epstein file, I did a nice clip of stuff. As a result of sharing that clip, one of the casinos that I partnered with for 2 years banned my photo access, right? Meaning that in order to film at casinos, you need to have you need to go through a quick background check, and they give you a photo pass. Well, one of the biggest casino in Connecticut banned me, right? And disrespected my First Amendment right as a reporter, because I'm also a reporter, because they didn't like the fact that I spoke about Charlie Kirk. Now, I asked them very clearly when I got banned, me and my mom, what exactly about the report that you didn't like? Because unlike other people, and I respect what Joy Reid does and everybody else did, because I'm also a gun violence survivor, right? Oh, besides an advocate, I lost a nephew to gun violence. I don't talk about other people who are unalived in that way in a negative manner. I just don't do it. It's just something that I don't do, right? So I was not trying to bring up all the negative things. I just was trying to find two things I was doing. One, I was trying to find how him and I were connected in one issue, right? To show that, hey, he wanted to release the Epstein files. We should talk about that. Also, I wanted to make sure I clearly says that we did not unalive him. Like, meaning Black folks, us did not unalive him. They need to find out who actually did the unalivement. Those are the two comments I said, and then I got banned. So the Charlie Kirk story and the Charlie Kirk incident has impacted me on a professional level. You understand what I'm saying? Because people don't want to hear anything negative against this young man. So I want to say that. So I have to preface that, because I'm not going to talk too much about Charlie Kirk, except because I promised my mom that I would be very careful, because we got banned, right, from one of our casinos. Now, with that said, I will say, as far as Robinson, right, the perp that actually unalived him, similar to who they said Luigi, we definitely need to go and find the truth about why this happened to Charlie Kirk, right? Why was he unalived that way by that particular person? We need to find out the truth. Now, the most interesting person that I've been following is Candace Owens. And me and Candace Owens has absolutely nothing in common, except for the fact that I want to also find out why a young white male from a white community who support Donald Trump unalive Charlie Kirk. Now, with this judge that you just showed a clip, I'm a little annoyed and I'm a little worried, because one of the things that Candace Owens keep pushing, and again, I disagree with 98% of Candace Owens' statement. I don't like her. She probably would never like me if she knew who I am and stuff like that. Everything she's ever said in existence is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, conspiracy. I've taken very personal everything that she says about COVID and the COVID fight. I'm taking very personally against her, so I don't like her, and I'm sure she doesn't like me. But with that said, that 2% about her trying to figure out what happened with Charlie Kirk I'm finding that to be very interesting, to the point that I'm actually listening to her. Now, she's going to have a field day because that judge in that clip just said that he wants to have listen to recording or see videos without the media being in the courtroom. What is that about? So now you guys gonna have me looking at Candace Owen like, okay, maybe she has a point. Why would a judge, because we are now sitting in a very similar situation when it comes to Luigi. The judge, the only thing I think the judge stopped from showing on the camera was the actual manifesto. There were certain photos that he didn't show. They did describe it. But we're able to see all the videos as media personality. We're able to see all the videos. We're able to see the body cams. Why is this judge all of a sudden saying that the media or the public cannot hear this particular clip? This is crazy to me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much to this Luigi case that I think it's a good chance that a lot of this stuff or some of it will be suppressed. I think it's possible. Number one.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Luigi case, but I'm talking about the Charlie Kirk. What do you think about the judge saying that they don't want the media to listen to the video or to the recording, and that he is closing the court so the judge can listen to it on his own? What is that about? Like, why is he doing that?
Yeah, they're trying to restrict information. And that's why yesterday they had the lawyer for the press came into the courtroom, even on this case, and said that the public is and the media is due for information. So I think that's going to be a big problem in that case.
It's going to be a huge problem in Charlie Kirk case because what is so different? I mean, God rest in peace, may he get justice. But what is so different about this Charlie Kirk case that's so different from the Luigi case or any other case like that, right? What is so different that they are holding on to these information so tightly? It leads you to believe that something else is going on. And what is going on? Because the world wants to know why this young man was unalived in public by a fellow white male. Why? Why was it that? Especially the fellow white male is a Trump supporter. Why is that the case? Why are they trying to hide the information from the public? It's going to make Candace Owen even more popular.
I think MAGA was actually trying to push back on the narrative that he was a Trump supporter because they said that his parents basically said he grew up in a Republican home, but then he, went on the internet. He got caught up in these chat rooms, and then he switched gears. That's what they're trying to paint the narrative of.
There was no switching gears with this young man. The man that there is photos of him with a Trump supported shirt on, and he follows Trump. Like, how do you switch gears? Like he switched gears 2 days before he unalived Charlie Kirk? What the hell are we talking about? We all know, we see that he is a Trump supporter. He's a MAGA supporter, period. And you can't all of a sudden, because he unalived Charlie Kirk and you find out that he's a white male, that he's no longer a MAGA supporter. The man was a Trump supporter, because if he wasn't a Trump supporter, you guys would have been all over the country talking about how he wore a Biden t-shirt and he had a Biden hat and he donated to the Biden campaign and the comment. All of that would have came out already. The fact that we don't know too much about this Robinson kid is because he's a Trump supporter and they're trying to hide it. That's exactly what's going on. He said that he's a Trump supporter. It's just insane for me.
Okay, Jeb says because he turned gay in college and switched parties to Democrat.
Oh, so we have no LGBTQ MAGA community? Is that what you're saying? Because there's nothing that says that he switched parties to Democrats. There's nothing. Everything that showed up to the day that he did the act showed that he was a MAGA supporter. He was a Trump supporter.
Okay, you're getting a little pushback as far as Candace Owens has gone off the deep end. I wouldn't listen to too much of what she says.
I don't listen to Candace Owens. I'm saying to you guys that you guys are now allowing Candace Owens to become that's not true. I do listen to Candace Owens. I started listening to Candace Owens because of the Charlie Kirk. After what happened with Charlie Kirk, I started to listen to what she had to say. I disagree with 98% of what she has to say, but what I do find interesting of what she has to say is that fact that it seems to be some type of cover-up that's happening when it comes to the Charlie Kirk killing. And by the judge, and even if you do not agree with my statement, the fact that the judge came out and said that he is not going to allow the media or the public to listen to a recording, right, out in public before he listens to it. He's going to close the court, kick everybody out, and the judge is going to listen to the recording by himself before he could determine what could be released out in the public. What I'm saying is that everything that Candace Owens has implied about a cover-up behind the Charlie Kirk unalivement is once again being proved by what this judge just said. Why is the judge closing down the court and not allowing the media and the public to listen to that recording? What the hell is that about? You know? The killer of Charlie did support Donald Trump. He did. There's a photo of him wearing Donald Trump's shirt. He did. It was a big deal. And the reason why it was a big deal is because you guys got so quiet about it. You guys got so quiet about it. So you guys can say all you want to. He wasn't the Democrat social. You guys could continue to say it. I'm telling you what we all saw.
Okay. Candyman. I'll have you read that.
So what if you look more into the trial and his trans love that is Marshall protective custody? You would know why Charlie Smurf Charlie. Say that one more time. Well, if you look more into the trial and his trans lover that is Marshall protected custody, you would know why Charlie is murdered. I don't know why he unalived Charlie Kirk. You don't know why he unalived Charlie Kirk. But are we going to find out why he unalived Charlie Kirk if the judge continued to suppress the evidence of what we have? Charlie Kirk, you have a white male in a predominantly Republican, MAGA supporting, loving state, right? That unalived one of y'all heroes. How are we going to find out what happened if the judge is suppressing the evidence? Also, there is a lot of conversations that's being had among y'all people. Y'all people. See, the Democrats is not even part of the conversation when it comes to Tyler Robinson. I haven't heard any of the MAGA people who's fighting against Candace Owens pointing and saying, oh, Candace, this guy was a Democrat, and that's why he unalived Charlie Kirk. That is not even a conversation that's happening in everything that I've heard. Even on Twitter, there haven't been a big because when a Democrat unalived when a Democrat unalive a Republican or MAGA, it's all over the country. That's not even a conversation that's being had. Also, the most interesting thing I'm hearing, even if you guys were to say that he is talking to his transgender lover, it's already been discussed that the emails that was written in such a way that Gen Z do not speak that way. So far among yourselves, leave the rest of us out of it. Leave the Democrats out of it, because we're not the one that's fighting the Charlie Kirk narrative. MAGA is fighting MAGA about Charlie Kirk. You guys have to figure it out and let us know what the hell is going on. Because you have the Fuentes, you have the Tuckers, you have the Megas, you have the Candace Owens, you have the TP USA, whatever. Now you have Erica, his widow is coming out now. I'm not sure yet if she is fighting Candace quite yet. This is like a borderline disrespect that's about to happen right now. So I'm trying to figure out if Candace is going to go after the widow, or if the widow is going to go after Erica, Candace Owens, or if Erica's going after Candace going after. Right now, you guys are fighting the issue. The Democrats ain't fighting nothing when it comes to Charlie Kirk. We are actually minding our own goddamn business. So if you feel that it was a Democrat that actually did it, y'all not talking about it. Y'all talking about ships and Egypt and the country across the other country across. We are talking about whether he's Catholic or versus not being Catholic. He is the religion of the country across the, because I don't want to name that country because I have a lot of family friends who are part of that religion. So I try very hard not to talk about them like that because I can get myself in trouble. So you guys need to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk, because y'all fighting among each other to try to figure it out. But one thing I can say is that this judge just came out and said that he is withholding evidence. Why is he doing that? Why is the media not allowed to listen to that recording? What is he doing? It just goes to show that you guys have a lot of work to figure out what happened with Charlie Kirk. But leave the rest of us out of it. As far as I know, we're not in it.
Okay, so we have a few people. We're running out of time. We have a few people that wanted us to touch on Luigi Mangione. So we'll switch gears and go back, and maybe you can repeat a few things. But I wanted to touch on yesterday. We had Fox, right? Fox was the K9 officer.
Yes.
And he played a big part in trying to run the show. In fact, he had a lot of contentious moments with Luigi Mangione. He was also involved in the whole bomb situation. Well, man, I can't say that word on YouTube.
Sorry.
With the explosives, right? We have to use the word explosives.
Yes.
So basically, under cross-examination, Karen Agnifilo really drove the point home. Even with Wasser, she was the female officer who was just itching. She was itching to go through his bags, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But under cross-examination, Karen Agnifilo really broke it down to the minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Wasser is saying, well, certain things that Luigi did caused us to want to think maybe he had an explosive.
Yes.
But Karen Agnifilo took her all the way back to when she first grabbed her gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you grabbing your gloves? You want to search his bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so now you're thinking about searching his bags and all of this before. So really, under cross-examination, I hate to be the one to tell you, but the officers are falling apart because they're not truthful.
They're not.
And anyone sitting in the audience would, you could speak on it. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Mel, for interrupting you, but you're right. You're right. And I didn't even see the defense cross-examine until today. Today's the first time I actually saw the defense cross-examine all the officers, one of the officers. Every day that I've been there, I've only seen the prosecution questioning, right? And even the way the prosecution is actually asking the questions, to me, it seemed like they're trying to feed the information to the officers. Like, for example, today, Officer Byrne, the last officer that was there today, he was saying some stuff, and I can see Joel, the prosecutor, shaking his head like, I even put a note. I'm like, why is Why is the prosecutor telling him no? Like, what are you doing? Like, so at the end of the day, what happened is that Christine is the prime example, because when she went in there and the reason why I remember her is like when she was going in there, she was like, whoops, when she walked through the room, right? So there's a video camera when she was in the room, and the prosecutor's like, why did you say oops like that when you walked up? Because it sounded like such a joyous exclamation. And she was like, oh, because I almost tripped and fell, right? So she came in there not worried. She came in there not concerned. None of them felt concerned about Luigi being this huge person who unalived Brian Thompson. They didn't feel any concern. You could see they were all relaxed, chilling. You see there were 2 patrol officers. The Lieutenant Hannity, let's call him Lieutenant H, he got a call from one of the officers and said, do you need me to come? And he said, no, stand down. And he still showed up. All of these officers left their various jobs, their patrol, just to come to McDonald and see this person who unalived a CEO, right? And doing that, they in their mind had hero complex, and they felt that they did not need to follow the regular rules and regs. I have to say that one of the questions that was asked today to I think Detective Sergeant Byrne, do you know about the Supreme Court search and laws, the rules as far as search and seize and search? And he said, no, I do not, right? So the only laws that they are trying to stick to is the one in Pennsylvania. And even in Pennsylvania, they broke the rules. They were not supposed to look at the bag outside of Luigi's presence. They're not supposed to search the bag and start taking things out of the bag without having a form, something as simple as a form to separate the personal from the evidence. They're not supposed to do that, right? When they take the bag in, once he is arrested, that's when they're supposed to get a warrant. They did not get the warrant to search the bag. Also, they searched the bag 3 times. Christine searched it when they went into the police precinct. There was a little hallway. The guy, I think Sergeant Byrne was the last sergeant. He said he looked at it, right? And then he went and searched it again to take pictures. So that's, to me, that's 3 search without a warrant. Okay, so everything they've done, from questioning Luigi to not reading his Miranda rights to them only detaining him, because that's what they're saying. We didn't need to read his Miranda right because we only detained him, to finally putting the cuffs on him. And it's when they put the cuffs on him, that's when they read his Miranda rights, right? And I don't even think and then they took him outside before they even searched his bag. They said that the reason why they wanted to search him is because they felt that he had a weapon on him and that he was a danger. But the way they act in the video, they were not in fear. They didn't clear that McDonald's restaurant. They went to the bathroom. I think the original officer that questioned him, he went into the bathroom. Christina went to the bathroom. You see Patriot from McDonald's going back and forth between Luigi was sitting at the table. The police officers were standing here. There's a walkway to the bathroom. You see people walking back and forth to the bathroom and stuff. And there was nothing about them and their actions that showed that there was such an urgency to break these rules because they had somebody so dangerous in front of them when they were just relaxing. And they all came there because they felt that no one cared about what happened to Brian Thompson. They are the only one, because they in Pennsylvania and they watch Fox News, and Fox News said that this guy was a bad guy and no one cared about the story except for them and their community and Fox News, and they wanted to be a hero because he is a leftist who only cared about health care, and we are the American heroes, and we're going to do what we need to do to get this guy arrested and this guy brought to justice. That's how I saw it.
So here's an issue that has not come out in court, at least to the level that I would like to have seen, right?
Okay.
So Luigi Mangione is sitting there at the table right by the bathroom, right? He has two walls, right? He can only get out the tables in front of him, right?
He can't move.
Right. It came out in court that they did not have the right to arrest him simply because he looked like the New York shooter.
Yes.
Okay. Now today, I say again, Lieutenant Hanley basically said by means of the prosecutor that at 9:29 he handed over a fake ID, and basically that was the reason that led to him being arrested ultimately, because he committed a felony, right? But here's the question, right?
They say, I don't know if they said it was a felony. They say it was a crime. They
No,
said
this was in the morning time. It's word for word. This is
he said it was a felony
in the morning. In the morning time, it came out. Yes.
Okay.
So here's my question: did they have a right to even ask him about his ID or who he was based on him just sitting there in McDonald's? So that's the question.
Thank you for asking the question. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know that they considered him not having submitting a false ID was considered a felony for them. They said that it was a reason to detain him, right? It's because he broke the law. But I didn't know it was a felony because some laws are misdemeanors. You know what I'm saying?
Let me explain to you on the cross-examination this morning. Karen Ignifilo was talking with the lieutenant. It actually came out that the higher felony was him stating his false name was higher felony than the felony of handing over a fake ID. So that came out on the cross-examination.
Okay, thank you so much for telling me. So it is a felony. So
yes.
No, so this is where I come back to the hero complex of these officers, right? Capstone officers, Fox News police officers. The reason why I say that is because in my opinion, they did not know if this young man was Mark. They did not know that. They approached him. He had his hat, he had his face covered, right? They probably told him to remove his hat and his face covering because probably when he went and ordered the breakfast, it's probably he didn't have the mask on. But when he sat down, he had it. They approached him. They asked him for his ID. He gave the ID. I don't think they should have approached him, but let's just say because they felt that someone identified him, that they have a right to ask questions. Because even in New York, they have a right to ask you if you're in a certain area. They have a right to ask you for ID. But let's just say that they had a right. How did they not know that this guy was Mark? That's my problem with them. You understand what I mean? He gave you an ID. On the ID, it has his picture. It has his name. What gave you the right now to take that ID, to go online, Google, because that's what they said. We went online. We looked at the pictures. We said it was him. And then we approached him and said that you're lying. That is not your name. To the point that you said that you're lying, you're not the name, is if you continue to lie to us about your if you continue to lie to us about your name, then that's a felon or that's a crime. I remember him saying that's a crime and you could be arrested. And it's because he said that's a crime, you could be arrested, is when Luigi was like, okay, you're right, my name is actually Luigi. Okay. That's when it became a problem for me, because when did you make the decision to ask him all these questions? And once he identified himself, why didn't you give him the Miranda rights?
But here's the issue, right? This is my issue.
Mm-hmm.
The lead officer, his name is Detweiler, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's lying to Luigi right from the jump as to why they're even questioning him. So it's all based on a ruse, based on the lie. But I'm not taking away from Brian Thompson at all, but I'm just focusing on the rights of the man sitting in the seat, whether he's Luigi or whoever. He's sitting there, and technically in court, they said they did not have a right to really bother him based on his resemblance, because he could have been wrong about the New York shooter. So the defense is not jumping on that as much as I would like to see them, because let me tell you this, the prosecutor brought in the lieutenant, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've observed because I've been there each day listening to every storyline. Mm-hmm. They had the lieutenant, who's the boss of most of the men who came previously, right? They have him cleaning up. So the previous men say, oh, we learned on Fox. The lieutenant comes in, oh, he didn't learn about the picture on Fox. He saw it on the website default browser when you turn your computer on. Mm-hmm. And then he mentioned about the panel on CNN and also MSNBC. So he's cleaning that up. He's
but
also
he didn't, Mel. He didn't. He said that they were talking pundits. He disrespected MSNBC and CNN and said that they are talking pundits. So he was very sarcastic about them. But go ahead.
Well, he's trying to clean up the guys who came previously.
Yeah, exactly.
I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. He also, with the prosecutor today, he's trying to say, oh, Luigi committed a crime when he handed over that false ID. Karen Agnifilo says, no, really, when he told you a false name, that's a bigger lie or felony in the state of Pennsylvania. So he's trying to say the reason why they were able to go through his bag is because he started off by giving false information. So they're using this whole explosive theory. They have all of this throughout the week, but the lieutenant kind of tightened it up today to try to paint a different narrative.
Yes, he did. But the thing is, like I was saying, that they did not have the right to actually use that as a reason not to read his Miranda rights and to search his bag. Because, as I said, he had an ID with his photo, right? He had an ID. They approached him like any other police officer. Hi, can I have your ID? He gave the ID, and it has his photo and it has his name, Mark, and I don't have the last name. If they felt that he was the CEO person that unalived Brian Thompson, that should have been the moment that they said, in my opinion, that you look like the perpetrator from New York. We are going to arrest you, right? Because you gave us a false ID, and read him his Miranda rights. They did not do that because they weren't 100% sure that he was Luigi. The lieutenant said that he called 911, and you could hear on the recording that the 911 representative asked the lieutenant, right, Hannity, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing his name, but Lieutenant, I call him Lieutenant H. They asked him on the 911 call, do you have the name of the suspect? He's like, no, I do not. Now, that's when he was driving over there, okay? So he was driving over there, and he already called 911 to say, I think we have the CEO. My officers are saying we have the CEO on alignment at McDonald's. The 911 operator was like, okay, what's the person's name? He said, I don't know yet. I'm on my way there. So when he gets there, he gets the New Jersey license plate, and he called back and he said, oh, the New Jersey license plate says it's marked. However, I don't believe it's him. I think it's the CEO. How do I think it's the CEO? Because I checked Google and I saw his picture. So as a result of all of that, now you get to now talking to each other outside and saying, yeah, that's him. Look at the picture. And you can see in the video cam on their body cam that they're looking at their phone to just compare his picture. They're like, yeah, that looked just like him. All right. You now have to go in there and tell him that he is breaking the law by giving you the wrong name. So that's when the officer D, and I'm sorry, I'm just using their initial, approached him and said, you are breaking the law of Pennsylvania by giving us a false ID and a false name. And if you do not, if you continue, then we're going to arrest you. That's what he said. So they didn't even, they did all of that, right? They didn't even know whether he was lying or not. They couldn't give the proper name to 911. Okay. They did all of that in order to get him to confess his name. And even after he confessed his name, they sat around talking and shenanigans all over the place. More of them came in. And then Christine, in her infinite wisdom, they decided they're going to take the bag, right? And they took the bag. They didn't look at the bag or search the bag in front of him like it is required in Pennsylvania search law. They wait until they decide, okay, we have enough. Because he lied about his name, we're going to arrest him. They put the handcuffs on him. Did they say that they read his Miranda rights when they put the handcuffs or before they put the handcuffs? Did you hear when they read his Miranda rights, Mel?
Yeah, it was pretty much simultaneously. The officers, they got agitated. It was Fox. Fox from yesterday started asking Luigi various questions like, why did you lie about your driver's license? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
When he realized that he was asking these questions, he was like, oh, we need to Mirandize him. Okay. So that's when they stood him up, searched him. But he was already previously handcuffed because when the lieutenant got there, that's one of the things that he had required. But as far as reading him his rights, that happened because Fox, who was there yesterday, he had his direct and his cross-examination. He's the one that was trying to be a hero and get more information out of him. But he saw when Luigi said, I plead the fifth, basically, that's when he got upset and, they officially arrested him.
But that's what I'm saying. So when they put the handcuffs, because I did not hear they read him his Miranda rights all day today, all day yesterday. I did not hear them say that we read his Miranda rights and put him in handcuff. I did not hear that. I thought, based on my understanding, they read him the Miranda rights once they left McDonald's.
No, Fox read him, Mirandized him right at the table.
After they put the handcuffs on him.
Yeah.
Before they put the handcuffs on him.
Right.
Okay. So Fox read him the Miranda rights after several of them questioned Luigi about his name.
Correct.
And they're saying to us that they are allowed to do that and they are allowed to detain him because he gave them the wrong name. How did they figure out that he gave them the wrong name? It's because they looked at the video, they looked at the Google search and they saw his picture. They said they reached out to 911 and they gave a name of the license plate, the New Jersey license plate, but they couldn't come up with any follow-up to show whether that is actually his ID or not, right? So my whole thing is that once you did all of that, why didn't you read him his Miranda rights right then? Once he gave you the ID, the false ID. Look, you gave me a false ID. This is you. Okay, this looked like you. You are now under arrest, right? For giving us a false ID. This is the Miranda rights, period. That should have been the first 5 to 10 minutes. They did not do any of that. They wanted to play hero because they felt that they knew better than anybody else because they were watching on Fox News. They didn't want him to get away because he's a leftist healthcare unaliver, and they were going to do what they wanted to do to get this arrest. And all of them came there to arrest him. Not just one, not just two. They left their job. The canine police officer came with Blue, the canine. They all came. They brought trainers, right? Trainees. They had people that was actually training police officers. They brought them too. It's like a bunch of them. And it was 13 of them. They asked them today, how many people are on your roster? They said 65 officers, but in 13 officers was there, and they were trying to explain how they are always busy and how they are sometimes they have 3 shifts and they short of hand, so they have to like share the job. But yet you had 13 officers in that one small area showing up at McDonald's for someone that you didn't even read his Miranda rights, and then you search his bag and did all kind of legal stuff to arrest him.
Jeb says, face it, all evidence points to Luigi.
We don't know if all evidence points to Luigi because they did not read him the Miranda rights. So we don't even know if these evidence is even going to be allowed. We don't know what evidence is. They couldn't even tell us in the court what was personal versus what was evidence. They're supposed to be able to do that. One of the things about the Pennsylvania search law is that you're supposed to be able to open up the bag in front of the person that you're detaining, right? And you're supposed to be able to differentiate between the personal and the evidence, because you want to make sure that nothing is the person that you held is not going to accuse you of taking anything personal. They didn't do any of that. They didn't do nothing. In fact, you should see Christine's face when she was so surprised. Woo! When she found the magazine, she's like,
yeah, Christine, her name is Christy, Wasser. That's the only female there. Yeah, Wasser. Listen, so here's the thing I noticed that the officers didn't pick up. When they first asked Luigi, what's your name? He said Mark Lazzari, right? Okay. And then the ID he gave, I think the name was Mark Rosario, right? And then the passport he gave had Luigi Mangione, so...
But the passport came in later.
Yeah, but I'm giving you just how it transpired with the 3 IDs that he gave, because they finally pulled his passport, but verbally the first thing he said, his name was Mark Lazzari. Then when he handed over the driver's license, the fake one, it said Mark Rosario. So okay. the officers didn't even pick it up in the video that he verbally said Mark Lazzari, and then the ID says Rosario. They never picked that up. If they had picked that up, they would have. Yeah, I picked it up. They would have nailed him right from the beginning had they just been alert. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, if they've been alert and if they were following the rules and regulations that even is in their search and seizures, they could have done everything right. They could have done everything right. They could have, from the moment he said his name, and they looked and they searched and they said, okay, this is not the guy in the picture, right? Yeah. They could have said very simply, 5 minutes, hey, you look like the suspect from the CEO on Alive in New York. We are going to place you under arrest because the name or the ID you gave us is incorrect. You have a right to remain silent. That's all they could have done. They could have done that in 5 minutes, and then the case would have been up and running. They could also pick him up, took his bag, and did get a warrant and search his bag. They didn't do none of that. Everything they did was against the New York law, Supreme Court law, and Pennsylvania search law.
Right. So what came out? Yeah. So what came out in court today is that the ID that he gave was the same ID given at the hostel, the place that he stayed at allegedly in New York City. So I don't know, when Luigi said Mark Lazzari, he was trying to throw them off from he didn't want to use that name, Mark Rosario, too, because that would link him to New York. You see what I'm saying? So, or I don't know if he forgot the name, the fake name that was on the card. And so he just misspoke because he couldn't think of the real name. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're not saying that he didn't try to lie. Of course, obviously he lied, right? He lied because he didn't want to get caught, right? So they have a right, even in New York, they have a right to ask a question. If you're providing a name, then you have a right to ask the question. My thing is that as a police officer, if you believe that this was the person that unalived Brian Thompson, why not arrest him, read his Miranda rights, and do things correctly? That's all I'm saying. They did none of that. None of them. In fact, to the point where they were arguing a little bit with each other about whether they should have gotten a warrant. Right?
And
They
so
were
that's one
arguing
of
with each other.
so that's one of the ways that the lieutenant, who was all their boss, right? He tried to clean it up today because they were arguing about this whole warrant deal. He tried to clean it up by saying, "Well, Luigi,
Lied.
he
That
he
was the
he
first
gave
crime.
he gave us the fake ID." But then she corrected him and says, "No, the first felony would have been when he lied about his name. If you're going by Pennsylvania law."
Exactly.
There's a question there from Gold Digger, which is one of our great moderators too. Shout out to you, Gold Digger. Can you address your question here?
I'm sorry. Can you tell us, after he was handcuffed, what was he being arrested for? Exactly. Hold on.
Okay, so why you?
He was being arrested for the false name, for providing a false name. That's what they said that they eventually arrested him for. They said they arrested him for, they detained him initially. And once they decided among themselves that this was the perp that was being wanted by New York, they arrested him for the false name. That's what they say they arrested him for.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the thing is,
five different charges. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 5 different charges for false name.
They gave him, one is tampering with the fact of ID card, providing a fake ID, obviously, and then he has other charges with the gun.
No, but that was after the fact. We're talking about when they detained him to ask him questions. They said they detained him because of the false name.
Yeah.
Right? They said they did not arrest him. So because they didn't arrest him, they didn't need to he didn't need to read him the Miranda rights. That's the sticking point, right? Because you don't need to, apparently, according to Pennsylvania, you don't need to read his Miranda rights if he's not being arrested, right? So my question to them is that, how did you not know that he was not marked on the ID, right? Okay, they said that we looked in on the website and he looked like the perp, right? So once they've identified the fact, they all agreed among each other, all 13 of them, that this was the guy that we're looking for in New York. Why did they not Mirandize this guy immediately? That's the main issue that we're having. And why they're lying,
Nicole,
to try to cover that up.
Nicole Smith, right? She is the assistant DA in Altoona, Pennsylvania. They called her around 9:54 in the morning, and she is the one that pretty much helped spit out what all those charges would be. So that's when he received those 5 charges, is when she was on the phone. She said she was in court. She came out of court, and basically they gave her some loose facts, and she spit, out these charges.
Yeah, but that was after they already questioned him, right? That's after they questioned him. That's 20 minutes in to them asking him about his name, asking him why did he lie, asking him about give me your ID, asking him all of these questions. They did all of that to him, and that's against his civil rights. Like, the fact is that they approach a man who was having breakfast at McDonald's. He looked like the person that they were looking for in New York. They asked him a bunch of questions about his ID. They didn't believe him, right? And instead of reading his Miranda rights to arrest him, they continued to question him against his civil rights. And now that they realize they did a bunch of wrong, they're lying about it. They're making all kinds of excuses. And not only the matter, so the Miranda right is the one thing. Okay, they could probably get away with it. Yes, he was detained. Then we arrested him because we realized that is him. We realized that it was criminal. It was a felony. You said it's a felony to give the wrong ID and to give the wrong name. Okay, so the Miranda rights is just one issue. I need everybody to understand there's 2 separate issues here. So reading his Miranda rights was was bad. In New York, you can't get away with it. Supreme Court, you can't get away with it. It's against your civil rights. If you're being arrested, if you're being detained and you're being arrested, because here's the thing, in New York, you have a right to ask an officer, am I being arrested? And if they say that you're being detained, you can say to the officer, well, sir, if I'm not being arrested, I want to go home and you have to release him, right? He couldn't even say, am I being arrested? You got to release me, because they surrounded him. They didn't even give him the option. As far as he was concerned, at least based on what I can tell, because he didn't ask any specific question. Sir, why do you have me? Why you question me? I don't want to answer any question, blah, blah, blah. As far as he concerned, the way it looked like, Luigi probably thought that he was being arrested anyway. That's why he didn't ask any questions until they started talking to him. He said, I want to plead the fifth. After they asked him all these questions. Because most people would be like, why are you talking to me? I'm having breakfast. Why, am I being arrested and stuff like that? He didn't even do any of that. Because they didn't give him any option. They didn't give him any room to even let him think that he's being detained. But okay, let's do away with the Miranda rights. They did it eventually to arrest him. The search and seizure is a problem. They're not supposed to search his bags without a warrant. They're not. He already gave them the ID. Here's the ID, right? They're supposed to now, okay, we're arresting him. We read him his Miranda rights. We need a warrant to search his bag. They're saying, no, the reason why we searched his bag is because we felt unsafe. We thought that he had an explosive device. We thought that he had this and that. Oh, he told us that he had a knife in his pocket. How come you ask him that if he has a weapon on him without reading his Miranda rights? But that's okay. Again, that's okay. You didn't read it. You got all that information. But you felt so afraid that you needed to search his bag right there, right? That you didn't even clear McDonald's. You had people at McDonald's eating. 2 of your officers went to the bathroom in front of the perp as he was sitting there. You had other residents going to the bathroom, right? There was no danger there. And then if you were so concerned, because you searched his body, because that's how you found the knife, you searched his body, but you didn't search the bag until you got him out of there. How come you didn't search the bag, right? And now there's this rule that they're saying, well, the rule 3-109 said that we could search him and his belongings. We could search his body and anything in his possession. So Jacob Kaplan was like, where was the bag? They're like, well, the bag was next to him. Whoa, wait a minute now. Was the bag next to him? Or was the bag on the floor away from him? Well, the bag was on the floor away from him. So if the bag wasn't next to him, that means the bag wasn't in his possession because you guys already had the bag. So if you guys had the bag, that means the bag wasn't in his possession. That means according to the rule, you weren't supposed to search the bag because you only supposed to search what is on his body and in possession. And the officer was like, yeah, even though the rule says that we knew the bag belonged to him, so technically the bag is in his possession. They're like, that's not what the rule says. The rule says it has to be in his possession. It has to be in his hand. You see what I'm saying? These are the stuff that's going back and forth between the prosecutor and the defense. They could very simply make this all go away if all of them said, we all had the basic understanding that this guy was not Mark, he lied. As a result of him lying, we decided collectively we was going to arrest him. We read him Miranda rights, and because he was under arrest, we reached out to the DA. They said, "Hey, go ahead, search his belongings. We have the warrant on the way." That's not what they're doing. All of them are lying. They are all lying. They're trying to rewrite what happened. They're trying to say, Christine searched him, frisked him, but wait a minute. But didn't the Wanger, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce their name. Didn't he search him first, the first police officer? Yes, he did. Is there any reason for you to believe that he didn't search him, he didn't frisk him the proper way? No, I believe the police officer did do his job and frisked him. So if the first police officer, patrol officer frisked him, why did she have to frisk him again? No answer. Except to say, Oh, there's nothing against the rule that says an officer cannot frisk him more than one time. That's what they said. That's what they said. So they all go working around the clock to try to justify what they did.
Okay, all right, very good. So we reached our time, 2 hours. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
all of your input today. I wanted to answer a few questions for openings. Well, she has one for you. First, I'm going to answer as far as why I think there's not a lot of support. Number one, for a lot of the videos that's coming out for legacy media, a lot of those videos are not being viewed the way Sean Diddy Combs or Epstein video would be viewed. And also, as far as the courthouse go, we had roughly maybe 50 people there when it started, rotating, going into the courthouse. Now we're down to, I think today could have been maybe 13 or so, I'm not sure, but a lot less. And definitely, even with the legacy media outside, you don't have as many lining the streets. So that's all. That's just my observation. Now, she's asking you, what is the mitigating circumstances you mentioned?
What do you mean the mitigating circumstances as far as the arrest or as far as the Miranda rights? What are we talking?
You know what she's asking Candyman, that Candyman says mitigating circumstances allow, to search.
Exactly. What was the mitigating circumstances? Thank you for asking. He said, what was the mitigating circumstances? There was no fear. There was no fear. That's what they're trying. That's what the defense is trying to say. You approach a guy having breakfast. He was having breakfast at McDonald's at 9:30 in the morning. What was the mitigated circumstances that you approached him because you said that someone else said that he looked like the person from New York? Okay, fine. He didn't do anything wrong. All he did was sat there the entire time. If you look at the video where he sat back in his chair, just chilling, just watching them. He didn't try to leave. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't disrespectful. They asked him for his ID. He gave the ID. Mel said that he gave the wrong name first before he gave the ID. They didn't even say that. They said that he gave us the ID. It said Mark. We went outside. We talked at each other, and we said, no, he doesn't. He looked like the guy in New York, so this ID is fake. They made that determination there. So even if they made that determination there, saying that this is not the guy, this is the guy from New York, why did they not read him the Miranda rights and say, you are lying? This is not you. We are going to arrest you for lying. You have a right to remain silent. That's not what they did. They sat there, they questioned him. They asked him a bunch of questions. He said that he had a knife in his pocket. They used that to search him, right? And even after they searched and took the knife, they still didn't arrest him. Right? So after they did all of that, they didn't arrest him. They said that he's lying. Okay, we have all of that. They kept him there. Then they threatened him and said, oh, if you don't give us your right name, then you're gonna be arrested. He gave the right name, right? It took them another 10 minutes and 3 or 4 more officers to come in before they even decided.
Okay, so here we go. Let's look at this before we leave, because this is really important.
Okay.
So New York is a stopping ID state. Okay, so that you look a little goofy or something, they can stop you and whatever.
Okay.
Now Pennsylvania, no. Pennsylvania is not general stop and identify state, meaning you don't have to show ID just because an officer asks you to. Now let's look at it a little bit closer.
That's not what they said, though. That's not.
Yeah, but this is from the law. Okay, so check this out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving down the street in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I'm wanted, perhaps, in New York for a crime. Okay.
Yep.
I put my blinker on, and the blinker is not working. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have a probable cause, pull them over. You know, maybe they wouldn't have pulled me over for my blinker any other day, but they're pulling it because they're looking for the reason to pull me over, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, in this particular case, the guy did nothing wrong but sitting there eating his breakfast, right? It's not, listen, you saw what I just read.
Yep.
Pennsylvania is not like New York where you could just stop and frisk a guy. Pennsylvania, I don't even have to give my ID. So if he didn't give his ID, theoretically, you know, he possibly, right? They were going to take him either way. But what I'm saying is, at that point, right, when they walked up on him, the officer lied to him about McDonald's saying he was sitting there too long. That wasn't true. So that's like the illustration I gave you about the blinker. You know, if my blinker is broken, okay, you have a probable cause, right? In this case, their probable cause was based on a lie. You see what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you, but you and I are saying the same thing.
No, I'm with you. I may sound a
Yeah.
little contentious, but I'm with you. But what I'm saying is, what is their reason? Why isn't the defense really harping on this? It's just irritating to me, you know.
See, I don't know if they harping because you're saying, according to the reason why they're not harping it is because according to the Pennsylvania search law, the several laws, they're saying to in court that they had a right to stop him because they got a call. They had a right to call to ask him questions because they got a call from the manager of McDonald's. This is what came out in court, at least what I heard, saying that the perp from New York is in McDonald's, right? That's what allowed them to go into McDonald's to ask him the question, okay? And by asking him the question, they asked him to show me your ID. Now you're saying that they didn't even have a right to even ask him to show their ID, but they said that they asked him to show him the ID, and they made a determination by looking at the ID and looking at a Google search that this guy in the ID, he lied by giving them the wrong ID, right? So from that moment on, to me, I agree with you. They were wrong from that moment on because you guys decided by looking at a photo that the guy, the ID that was given was a false ID, right? Then you question him, right, without reading his Miranda rights to say that you are lying to me. This is not you in the ID, right? And if you continue to lie to me, then I'm going to arrest you. By saying that, you cause him to tell you, okay, you are right. I did not give you the right ID. So by you doing that, you is called, in my opinion, entrapment, because you lied to him and said that are you going to get arrested if you don't tell me the truth. And once he tell you the truth, then instead of continuously by saying, okay, we're going to arrest you because you lied to us, right? You guys continue to question him and not read him in Miranda right. It's all messed up. It's all messed up. So it all started. So they made up everything. There was no such thing as an explosive threat. There was nothing. He was sitting there eating breakfast and he got a call. Because if you don't believe me, then listen to the call. They played the 911 call of the lieutenant. Lieutenant Hannigan, you said? The lieutenant made a 911 call to New York. He said he didn't have the phone number to the FBI or the officers that was dealing with the case, so he called 911. He said to them that, hey, I'm calling from Algeria, Pennsylvania. I'm the lieutenant, and my officers told me that the manager in McDonald's says that there is a customer there that looked like because he used the word shooter, the shooter from New York. Even the operator on 911 said, what is his name? Did they give you his name? He said, no, I'm not there yet. So he's already making a call to 911 in New York to say that he had the perp at McDonald's before he even arrived there. And he said, I don't have his name. I will call you back when I get there. So when he gets there, He takes the New Jersey license, because I have to tell you, the officer that was there, the officer D, had the license plate pinned, I guess, on his. He took the license plate from it, and he had it on his uniform. The lieutenant said that he took the license plate off the officer and went and read it to 911 and gave his driver's license, ID number, and the name and the address. And they said, okay, we're going to call you back to let you know if this is a legitimate license. All this time, they're waiting for a follow-up. They never got a follow-up to say whether it was a legitimate license or not, right? They just decided to go and question him. They intimidated him to say, no, that's not his name. And after a while, that's when they say, okay, we're going to arrest him because he lied by giving us a false name.
They also asked New York to send a warrant, and New York never sent a warrant for him either. But one thing I want to point out, Officer Detwilder, when he first walked up on Luigi, he said to him, McDonald says, you look suspicious. There's a suspicious guy. So they never did disclose to him that he fit the
they didn't disclose anything. They didn't disclose anything. The only time they said that to him is like when he went outside to speak to the lieutenant, and lieutenant said, okay, go and tell him that he is lying about his name, right? That's what they said. He is lying about his name. How are you going to tell somebody that's sitting there that you're lying about your name without even? It's the whole thing is just a mess to me. Again, I'm not saying, you see, in New York, you do have a right to pull somebody over and ask them questions.
Yeah,
my hope is that if they did it correctly, if they went in there and they said, okay, you look like the guy who unalived the CEO, we're going to detain you, give you the ID. When they saw the ID and they saw that it wasn't the right ID, and they went to him and said, okay, we believe that you are the suspect from New York. We are going to arrest you. You have a right to remain silent. That could have been the first 5-10 minutes. It could have been the first 5-10 minutes, and then we would be up and running. And then after that, they could have gone, they could have called the DA and said, we believe we got him. We're bringing them in. We need a warrant because he has a bag on us. We only search his body because Pennsylvania allow us to search his body to make sure that he has no weapon. So we searched him. They didn't even search him. They asked him, do you have any weapon? He said, yes, he has a knife. So they wasn't even supposed to ask that much. So they searched him. They took out the knife. That's it. They wasn't supposed to search the bag. They wasn't supposed to search the bag until they get the warrant. But they're saying that the Pennsylvania law says that they could search for anything in his possession, right? That means that anything that's next to him, right? Or on his body. He didn't have the bag. They had the bag because they moved the bag away from him and it was next to them. So they should not have searched the bag without the warrant, but they did. So now they are all lying to try to rewrite history because they know they wasn't supposed to talk to him without his Miranda rights, and they wasn't supposed to search his bag without the warrant. That's where we are. And this is why we're in court right now. This is why everything is happening. And the defense is trying to get all of these stuff thrown out. In my opinion, the judge should go with the defense. So we're going to end it. Let's end it up. What my opinion is, I think the judge should let the bag go automatically. Automatically, that should not be used in court. However, I think the judge is going to try to figure out a way to keep the bag because the judge is not happy with the defense. The judge snapped at the defense at least 3 times while I was in court. For some reason, the judge is not happy with the defense. Every time the defense says something, that he be snapping at them. I'm like, what the hell? What's up with you in the defense? Especially when it came to with Karen. Apparently, he doesn't like Karen at all because he keeps snapping her every time when she says, she says anything like, can we bring down the photo? They had a big, huge photo of Luigi with the driver's license. She's like, okay, now that we see, can you bring it down? The judge was annoyed about that. The judge, when they kept on calling him using the killer word or the murder word, I'm sorry, I only said it twice. He was like, well, they could say it here. They're not going to say it in trial. every time she make an objection that shows that they are pushing the narrative that this young man is the unalive without him being even brought to trial, the judge have a way about it. He's feeling a certain way. So I think the judge is more inclined. And I get it. Again, we're not here to say that this young man didn't do it. We're not even here. Mel and I are not even here to say that he didn't do it. Mel and I is not even here saying that he shouldn't be seek justice or he shouldn't go to trial. The fact is that this guy, I've been watching this guy. This guy have not showed any aggression. He just seemed like a perfectly nice young man sitting in court. I've never seen somebody so quiet and so demure and so polite in my life. Like, I've never seen a criminal like. So if he is the unalive guy, you might as well call him the gentleman killer, because I've never seen anybody so genteel as Luigi. You understand what I'm saying? So, but the judge wants this case to move forward because the judge wants justice. The police officers in their own Fox News Keystone Cop action want justice too. But the thing is, they broke a bunch of laws in order to get where we at. They were not supposed to question him without reading his Miranda rights, and they were not supposed to search the bag without the warrant. Those are the two key things when you are arresting a perp. That's it. We all in America has civil rights. We have rights. The Supreme Court gave us undeniable rights. You cannot question me. You can't arrest me. You understand? You cannot take my belongings. To be honest with you, if I was him, I would charge the officers with kidnapping because I couldn't move. I'm eating breakfast and all of a sudden y'all approach me and you wouldn't let me go. You wouldn't tell me if I was arrested. You call me a liar. I will charge you with kidnapping. Why y'all holding me down like that? I can't even move.
Yeah. Also,
you know? They were wrong.
Just to answer Stella's question, Pennsylvania you do have the right to carry, but in this case, you also have to have your license present, and he didn't have any license.
Yeah, but they didn't have a right to ask him that question. That's the point, right? Yeah, Pennsylvania, all the red states have a right to carry. You don't even have to, in certain red states, I'm surprised about Pennsylvania because in Florida, you have open carry. Like a lot of these red states, if you guys don't understand, that you don't even have to have a license to carry, right? You don't have to take training. You don't have to do anything. You could just go and pick up a pew-pew and call it a day. And so I didn't even know Pennsylvania even required a license. Good for them. But most of these states doesn't. So they don't have a right to ask somebody, right? Especially according to the Supreme Court, which is making the laws a lot lax. An officer does not have a right to come and ask you to show an ID or a license unless they found probable cause. He was sitting there having breakfast at McDonald's. That's what he was doing, because he looked like somebody that you think is a person, which turned out to be the guy. I'm not saying you're wrong. It turned out the guy. You decide to question him, accuse him of a crime, right? Saying that you detained him. You didn't arrest him until you asked him a bunch of questions. You search his body without giving him the Miranda rights. You search his bag without getting a warrant. You didn't even have an arrest warrant to even pick the guy up to arrest him. Like, what happened to the arrest warrant? Like, what happened to the arrest warrant? Like they just did everything wrong to get him. And because they felt this idea in their mind, and each of them said it. Each of them said it. We watched Fox News. And the only people that cared about what happened to Brian Thomas was the anchors of Fox News. All the other stations only cared about the healthcare issues. They called them talking pundit. They called them fake. They all have this mentality. These police officers collaborating in McDonald's, they all have this mentality that they wanted to be the big, great hero. And in being the great hero, they broke a bunch of laws.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right. Very good. So we're going to have to call it quits here. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. I think we covered a
Thank
lot of ground
you.
today, and openings had us do a double whammy with Luigi Mangione, but glad to do it.
Yes.
I was on Ann Jeanette Levy's channel Saturday night from Law and Crime, so I saw openings over there. Thank you very much. Shout out to Mashona. Nice to see you here tonight, one of the moderators. Great to see you. We see Stella. We had Bordeaux. We had Sharon. And we have Gold Diggers. So many great people. It's awesome to have you guys here. Would you like to close out the show for us tonight? Tell us something good.
Me?
Yes.
You're so sweet. You should close out. I've been talking so much. I know you're tired. You're tired. No, I really appreciate the fact that you have me here to actually give my various opinion. I have to tell everybody, like, a lot of my opinions are based on a regular woman. I like to say a regular woman, Black female, living in Brooklyn, living my everyday life and stuff like that. I do have several expertise of certain areas, but in general, my conversations with you and your audience is just a regular person just talking about the various things that are happening in our community, our point of view, what we see, what is right and wrong, just basic right and wrong. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be one. Well, actually on the internet I do. But other than that, this is what I'm doing. So I would love everyone to take what I have to say and just think about it, because I'm not 100% an expert, right? Just think about what I have to say and just, come up with your own thoughts and views about what you believe is right or wrong. Like whether it is what's happened to Luigi, because yes, if he is the guy that unalived Brian Thompson, then we're lucky that the officers got them. But what if he wasn't? What if he was a regular guy that was sitting there having breakfast? And what if you were him sitting there having breakfast and all of a sudden they come in and they try to take you out and look through all your belongings and stuff like that without even telling you you're arrested, without reading your Miranda rights, is that right? That because they say that he's the killer, is it right what they did? Is it right? It's against your rights. If it gets about Supreme Court, New York City, New York State, Pennsylvania rights, you can't do that. In regards to Charlie Kirk, why is the judge now all of a sudden deciding, and we all know this is one of the biggest stories in the world, why is the judge now deciding to not release pertinent evidence such as a video or recording? What is that about? MAGA, what are you guys going to do about it? Because you guys are fighting among each other to find out the truth about Charlie Kirk's. What's happening? The rest of us, the Democrats and stuff, we kind of mind our business. God rest his soul. We hope justice is found. But other than that, we mind our business. So you guys need to figure out what the hell is going on with that. Is there a cover-up? Donald Trump, what the hell is he doing as far as blowing up ships? And we have no evidence that these people have drugs on them. Why did he steal oil that was supposed to go to China? That Putin is going to be pissed off about, because Putin and China are best friends, right? Why are we sending soldiers, right, and going into other countries, under other areas, international waters, to steal ships, right? These are the things that's happening. And what happened to our America First? What happened to our reducing our health care, reducing our groceries, reducing our gas prices? What happened to all of that? Why are we living in the twilight zone? So anyway, that's why I'm here. It's for us to talk about all these different subject matters in everyday common language, so we can have a conversation, so that we could decide among ourselves what is right or wrong. And that's it. And I thank Mel for inviting me here. I know I saw the other day that you had this amazing lawyer, and unfortunately I think it was yesterday I was watching. What is her name? Candace also? Her name is,
she's a law professor. Yeah.
The law professor. She was doing an amazing job. I do have to disagree with Miss Candace in regards to the defamation. I totally disagree with her when the defamation rule And I disagree with her, and she's a law professor, so I'm not a lawyer, but I also disagree with her when she talked about how she believed that that Diddy has a great case with Netflix because Netflix or 50 Cent should not have used the video of his likeness in the documentary. So if she is right, then what does she say about all the other documentaries that's been done with videos of other people who committed crimes in the past, right? I'm sure that a lot of these people who committed crime did not authorize their videos to be used either in the documentary. So if she's saying that Diddy has a right to say not to use his likeness in the documentary, what about Kells? What about Harvey Weinstein? What about even Michael Jackson? Like, what about all of these other documents that was done where these individuals' video was used to tell their story? I'm sure they did not give authorization to use all of their videos and stuff like that to tell the story. So when she said that, I was like, I'm not sure where she's going with that, but I thought her show was absolutely amazing. And I think that's it for me. That's it.
All right. Very good. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. We went a little longer than what we were expecting, but great coverage. Nice to have you here. Every Thursday night at 8 p.m. we have Mama Flips on. Mama Flips, tell everybody about your channel and where they can follow you.
Thank you so much. I see that Stella put it up there. Thank you. Please, please, please. I'm asking everyone to please go to Mama Flip Slots. That's the channel right there. And help me get over 10,000 subscribers if you guys can help me. That channel is me and my mom playing slots, but it's a very important channel that I am really working to get over 10,000 subscribers. So please follow me there. If you like to follow me on this channel, which is MamaFliplive, this is the channel that I use to actually me and Mel talk about the different subject matters and stuff like that. Please follow me there also. But I really, if anybody want to help me out, please help us get over 10,000 subscribers on our slot channel. It's very important to us. Why is it important? Because we love to play slots, and in the slot community to be respected and to be considered a slot content creator, which is what we love to do as our hobby, you have to have 10,000 subscribers and more. So please help us in that way. So that's it.
All right. Thank you so much. And you guys have a great night, and everybody be well. We'll be in court tomorrow. We'll come back and tell you what happened, what occurred. And thank you for hitting the like button, sharing, and subscribing. We appreciate it. Go support Mama Flip. She's awesome. You can see she can really break these points down, and we like having her over here. We stand with Mama Flip. All right.
Thank you so much.
And tell everybody you have a famous son, right?
Yes, I do have a famous son. His name is Queen's Flip, and I should ask everybody who knows Queen's Flip. Did anybody?
Oh, yeah, they know.
Which one of you guys know my son? There's a picture of him here. You can see this picture, like right here. That's him. That's him. That's the son right there.
Yeah, he's on the biggest podcast, I believe. One of the biggest in the country. Very well.
Well, they don't like to say hip hop only. Entertaining podcast of the world. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. You're far too kind. All right. Have a good night.
Thank you for having me. You're too kind by allowing me to even be part of your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I'll see you in court. All right.
All right. See you in court. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Different voices, but the same song. Building a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world share in love and light. Painting the night, united we stand in love's pure might. might.